so let's get started. So why enter the awards? We had this theme for quite a few years now about how procurement can gain real competitive advantage. And it's about raising your game and raising your voice. And when we talk about raising your game, we talk about making sure that your skills are up to date, that you keep up to date with your CPD, that your teams are qualified, and then raising your voice. And this is something that we're not always that good at in procurement. And that's how we market ourselves, how we gain influence in the organisation, and how we sell our profession and build up your brand. And entering the awards is a really great way of doing that. Not only showcasing to people that you've won an award or even been shortlisted for an award, which is an achievement, but doing the award submission itself, coming together as a team and realising and taking stock at all the good work that you've done is a really great way of saying, yes, this is what we should be telling our business partners, our suppliers, our customers about all the really great stuff that we do in procurement. So I'd really advise encourage as many as possible to enter awards for that very reason, if nothing else, to take stock and celebrate your successes. So, putting together the submission itself, what I would do is set up a project team, first of all, and I wouldn't just put your procurement team in that. I would encourage you to put wider stakeholders in it, people that have been involved with projects that you've been working on, perhaps even friendly colleagues that have nothing to do with these projects, and talk about all the different projects that you've done and see which ones sound the most exciting, sound like they are probably the most likely to win the awards. And I think having different people in the room where you're not too close to the detail is really important there. And then secondly, use your own experts, internal experts. So call on your PR and comms teams, your marketing people to help you with the language, help you with your branding and the style, to make sure your submission really stands out against others. And there's an example there from Marks & Spencer's in the UK on their submission from a few years ago. So picking the right project is the first important stage. And those little workshops that I've advised you get together and talk about your projects is where I think you could highlight which projects are we going to go for, and then think about which category that it fits in. So think about, does it fit the brief? So make sure you read the descriptions on the website from all the categories and that it's fit in that brief. It's the right project for that. Like I said, relay the story to others. Do they understand it? Do they find it exciting? And if so, it's probably going to be a winner. Is it too big? So some projects, are pretty mammoth, and are you going to be able to relay that in 3 sides of A4? If you're not, then that project's too big. What you could do is an overview of that project and then drill down on one particular success story within that project. So really think about whether that project's too big or not. Is the story too large to be able to convey onto such a short submission? And number 4, is it too soon? Now, I'll go through the criteria a bit later. But one of the things we ask for, which gains the largest percentage of points, is organisational benefits achieved. And achieved is the key word there. So we want to see projects that have come to full fruition and have delivered tangible results. So we don't really want to be seeing any of these projected results or over the next 5 years we expect to see X, Y, and Z. We want to see things that have been delivered. Many projects continue then as business as usual and gain benefits, but we want to see the majority of the benefits already achieved. Okay, so I've been a judge for lots of our regions. So we run awards in Asia and Europe, and in conjunction with WBR and ProcureCon. We also run awards in the UK, in Australasia, in MENA, and we have in the past in Africa too. So I think over the years that I've been a judge on these awards, I've marked thousands. I'm trying to think how many thousands of submissions. And it's quite a lot of your time that you give up as a judge. And our judges are very senior and giving up their precious time. And what you want to avoid is markers fatigue. So when I pick up your submission, not only do I want it to look good, as first impressions count, I want to, in the first opening paragraph, thinking, I need to read on, this sounds great. So think about what's your hook, what's going to draw people in. Excuse me, what's going to make me want to turn that page and continue reading. So first impressions count. Make that impact statement in that opening paragraph to make it really exciting and think, this is a real potential winner I've got here. Try to avoid jargon and TLAs, that's 3-letter acronyms. I can't tell you the number of times I've had to Google things to look up, like, what on earth does that mean? So try and think about avoiding using your internal language or language that's specific to your sector. Our judges are from a broad range of sectors. They're very experienced procurement people. I mean, I've read thousands of submissions and still even now I'm having to Google things and are still none the wiser. So think about the language that you use and use the simplest way of describing things, and think presentation. When I open that submission, I want it to just be easy on the eye and nice and easy to read. Okay. So next up, how to make the judge's job as easy as possible. So in the guide on how to pull your submission together, we recommend that you use set headings. These include aims and objectives, planning and execution, organisational benefits, and there's about 5 or 6 headings. Please use these headings. I've spoken to people before who have said, oh, but I can tell the story so much better in another way. But these headings are the criteria that we use as judges. And so that's what they'll be looking for to mark. So using those correct headings makes it much easier in finding the evidence under those particular criteria. I can't tell you how important that is. Make sure you use evidence to back up your claims. So as well as the 3 sides of A4 for your submission itself, you also have 3 sides of A4 for supporting documents. And we'd like to see quotes from customers, from suppliers, from your CEOs or business leaders, business partners, validating your claims. But this could also be press cuttings, internal intranet stories or internal company newsletters, anything like that you can pull it together to validate your claims. Quote, actual, not predicted results. We've covered that before. And please, please, please don't break the rules. I've seen lots of submissions before where they've submitted 10 sides of A4 or a PowerPoint presentation instead of the submission, and we just won't be marking those going forward. We've had too many occasions where we've had to ask judges to mark twice the length of submission that we allow. So those submissions just won't be going through going forward. So don't break the rules, please. Okay, so I'm just going to take you through the categories that we've got on offer for this year. So we have 9 team categories and 2 individual categories. I'm just going to pick out a few really and talk about some of the pitfalls, the common pitfalls that some people fall into in these categories. So best people development initiative. Now, we pretty much take it as a given that people in your teams are already CIPS qualified or working towards CIPS qualification. So that's the standard that we'd expect. So what we're looking for in this category is things over and above formal qualifications, whether it be CIPS or anything else. You don't have to be working towards CIPS qualifications or even your whole team be CIPS qualified. But what we're looking for is how you've developed your team over and above procurement skills. So whether that's influencing skills, whether you've gone through some emotional intelligence type training, how you've overcome barriers to influence in the business, anything like that really that you can think of to pull that submission together. Next up, best cross-functional teamwork project. So many people who enter this get so bogged down in the project itself that they forget to tell us how you worked cross-functionally to deliver that project. And that's really the essence of what we're looking for. Yes, we're interested in the project and the results of the project, but we're interested in the journey and the mechanisms that you've put into place to help better team working internally. So think about that. Best supplier relationship management. That's another one similar to cross-functional working. We ideally like to see a joint entry for this category with you and your supplier, and we're looking for great results, but we're looking for how you worked better with that supplier, what mechanisms and processes, etc., that you put in place, whether you had suppliers working on site or you had regular Skype calls or whatever it was that you opened up to make sure that those working relationships were much better. And that's really the most common pitfalls for those categories. But all the descriptions for those categories are on the website, so make sure that you look at the criteria for those. So I'll take you on to a bit about the process itself. So we have a panel of 10 to 12 independent judges. They're all very senior procurement and supply chain professionals. Some of them former winners, but they're generally CEO level, head of procurement. So they really do know their stuff, and their time is precious. So make sure that you get the best submission forward for them. They mark all the team categories and decide on a shortlist for each of the categories, and then from all of those winners from each category, we decide an overall winner. So we decide the shortlist and then the winner for each category. That's how that works. And then on the individual categories, that's the Professional of the Year and Young Professional of the Year, we'll decide on a shortlist, and those shortlisted will be asked to then have a telephone interview with a smaller number of judges, just to make it more practical for an interview on the phone. There'll be 2 or 3 judges, and you'll be asked for a 30-minute interview, putting your case across and why you think you should win, and then questions from the judges. Okay, so that's how the process works. So the submission itself, what we're expecting to see, maximum of 3 single sides of A4 for your main submission, and then 3 additional sides for supporting materials. Entries should be divided into the 5 sections that I mentioned. That's aims and objectives, planning and execution, innovation and creativity, best practice, and organisational benefits achieved. Don't forget those supporting documents. You've got another 3 sides of A4 to really back up your claims. You can put anything in there. We can see charts and graphs, anything that might take up too much space in the submission itself. You can refer to them like an annex. And each section is marked out of 5, apart from organisational benefits, which is where you will achieve the biggest percentage of scores, and that is marked out of 10. So that's tells you how important that section is.